I think we're live. Hello? Are we working? I think we're online. I'm trying a couple of things different today. You might realise that I've got all this fancy new live streaming set up, and I needed an excuse for a reason to live stream. And the excuse that I've given myself is that I'm gonna, and you're gonna sit and watch, we're gonna visualise the entire first Run the Jewels album, probably one or two lyrics or visualizations from each track, and I'm going to sit here and do it live for you in Figma. We're going to do it live, and yeah, I'm going to see how it goes. I've got chat open. You can see it on the left-hand side. I'm hoping that chat's going to pull through to the stream as well on the right-hand side, although I can see... Hey you, how are you doing? I can see that you's already posted a comment and it isn't pulling through, so... Who knows if that's going to work. We'll see if it works in a bit, see if it catches up. Let me have a look. Yeah, where is the chat? God knows. We'll leave that off for now. Right, okay, so this is the thing that I'm working with. If you're not familiar with Run the Jewels, they're a hip-hop group, they're a rap group, they've made 4 albums now, and I love them. And it was partly the reason why I made... Let me drag this across. It was partly the reason why I made this Twitter account. When I started doing visualizations, I made this Seeing Bars Twitter account, which is just visualizing hip-hop lyrics. And it's something that I really love doing. I love rap. I love loads of different kinds of music, but I particularly love rap. And... I haven't been visualizing that many of them because I just haven't had the time with all the other stuff that I've been doing. But I love rap and I love visualizing the lyrics because a lot of them are just so ridiculous and they're fun to visualize and all that kind of thing. And I thought, what better excuse than to live stream me visualizing Run the Jewels? I can't play the Run the Jewels album while I'm doing this. Sorry, I'd love to. But I listened to it last night and I've got some ideas for what I'm going to do for the different kinds of stuff, and we're going to walk through it and just have a chill hour or so whilst I'm doing this. So if you've got any questions or anything, drop them in the chat. I can see the chat. I can see Twitter as well. So if you got anything you want to ask me, or any kind of the way that I'm looking at doing things, or whatever, you're asking me why I've made those decisions, whatever you want to do, just ask away and I'll see if I can pick them up in the chat whilst I'm doing them. So obviously, the first track we're going to start with is Run the Jewels. I've done a tiny little bit of preparation for this. I've set up a Figma file. I've got a page for each track. There's a couple of extra tracks on the album, the bonus tracks, the Pew Pew Pew, and the other stuff after that. And, oh yeah, by the way, all of these lyrics are going to have swear words in them. So if you get offended by swear words, I suggest you turn off right now. Anyway, side point. So I'm going to start with the first track. And before I start with anything, I think I need a visual style for these. I'm not going to use the usual visual style that I use for everything else. I'm going to go for something a little bit different. And I'm going to go for something in kind of this, the spirit of Run the Jewels. So I thought, what better way to do it than the first album's cover using those colours. So I'm going to make a colour palette of these colours, and I'm just going to have black, and I'm going to set these up in Figma as well so I can really easily access them as I'm going along. Let's call it RTJ black, even though, it's just black. There's nothing special about it. It's literally just black. And we're going to have another colour of this kind of bright green that they've got going on, which I think is going to work. I think it's going to work pretty well as an accent colour. Let's have a look. And yeah, because I can't play Run the Jewels, I've got like a selection of royalty-free old school rap tracks. I don't know if they're going to be any good, but they're playing away in the background anyway. So that's that colour, and let's call that... Is it green? Is that a green? Is that a turquoise? I always have this argument at work as to what colour this actually is. But let's just call it green. RTJ green. And then obviously we've got the white as well. So let's do one more colour. Let's break that up. And let's have a white in here too. Right, so we've got our colour scheme. You know what? They've been using pink and stuff in a lot of their latest stuff, haven't they? Let's just Google this. I'm sure their latest album cover is bright pink or something, isn't it? RTJ4. Yeah, it's bright pink. I think I'm going to throw that pink in there on some of them as well. I'm probably going to throw this symbol in there somewhere on some of them too, because it's such a damn cool symbol. And I was looking last night as well. If you look on Dribbble, Dribble's fantastic for looking for inspiration for all kind of stuff. But if you look on Dribbble and you just look up Run the Jewels, Run the Jewels is really popular with designers. A lot of designers really love hip hop, but Run the Jewels are, they're exceptionally popular with all kinds of people. And there's so much cool stuff on here to do with Run the Jewels, like this kind of thing. This is, it looks like some kind of visualization, some kind of 3D visualization of Run the Jewels, the Run the Jewels logo. It's fantastic. Yeah, so I started having a look around. This is cool as well. I started having a look around at the stuff that's on Dribbble for what we could do. So, I've got a couple of ideas on those kind of things, and I'm going to nick this pink as well. So let's copy this. I'm going to use a tool called Sip. I haven't got it open. Let me open it. Sip is just like a global desktop tool that allows you to colour pick colours. Let's jump back to Figma and one more colour, and then I think we've got our colour scheme sorted, for all these. RTJ white. Let's drop that in. I can hear a cat already outside my door meowing. They're a pain in the arse. Every time I want to do a recording of something, I'm sat in here with the door shut, obviously, and I kick everyone out of the room, and my girlfriend was in here a minute ago as well, and I kick everybody out. My girlfriend's easy to kick out, but the cats aren't, because they want to get back in this room. Wherever you are, they want to be. Classic cats. Okay, so we've got our colour scheme there. That's what I'm going to use throughout all these visuals. And I'm going to look at each track, and I'm going to look for some of the coolest visuals in each track. This is the process that I follow every time I'm making... Let's drag this Twitter window back up. Yeah, it's not wanting to do it. Let's go over to Twitter. So whenever I'm making visualizations on Unobvious, I'm looking at words, I'm looking at things I want to visualize, and this is like the most important thing. It's something I say a lot of. I'm looking for quotes that are already visual. I want to visualize things that are already visual. I don't want to try and find a visual inside something that isn't visual. I know that sounds a bit weird and maybe a little bit counterintuitive, but when you start making visuals, you quickly realize that it's really damn hard to visualize something that just ain't visual. So the easiest way to get around that is to visualize things that are already visual. So this one that I did for Justin Suar the other day, a bad attitude will derail a good plan. The quote's obviously already visual. I didn't have to put much effort into anything to visualize that. It's already visual. And if we look at some of the other ones, the art of being wise is knowing what to overlook. That's a little bit more obtuse in its connection, but there's still a connection. So when I'm looking, this was one of my personal faves recently, create a monopoly on your self-worth. I'm looking for phrases that are already visual that I can visualize. I'm not looking to try and visualize the word tangibly, for example, something that is ironically very intangible. It's tough for me to visualize something like that. So I'm looking again for the thing that is already visual. So that's what we're doing with these visuals that I'm doing here. And we're going to start with Run the Jewels, track 1, Run the Jewels. I can't play any of the lyrics, but I've got my Notion document here that I've already set up for this, that I've already selected some of probably the visuals that I want to visualize in here. Acting brave and courageous and advantageous for health and safety. Quite a simple lyric for Run the Jewels. Not that weird. I'm a sin on the verse, like a kid in a hearse. I really like that one. And I think I'm probably going to look at that one already because I've got an idea for it. And then the other one underneath. These streets is full with wolves that starve for the weak. So they after the weak in a land full of lambs I am, and I'll be damned if I don't show my teeth. That's a great visual as well. Let me skip this track because there's lyrics. We don't want lyrics on these songs in the background. There we go. Yeah, so there's some really cool visuals in there. But I think I'm going to start maybe with acting brave and courageous and advantageous for health and safety. Because I think I've got an idea for this. This is the toughest bit. When you're starting making visuals, especially as I'm starting from scratch with these, I'm essentially making a brand as I'm going along with these. And with the unobvious stuff, I've already got a brand created. It's just black and white, so it's easy. But these, I am, literally starting from scratch. There is nothing for me to work from to begin with. So I'm inventing everything from scratch with this. But I think with those colours that I got, I'm going to just copy those colours over here so I can see them. I think to stay in the spirit of the first Run the Jewels album, I think we're going to go for a black background on all these. So let's use this colour that we've got here. And what I'm feeling for this acting brave and courageous and advantageous for health and safety, I'm losing my voice already. This isn't good, only 15 minutes in. What I'm feeling for this one is some kind of health and safety symbol, something like that. So I'm in the research phase here, and I'm looking for like a health and safety symbol that I could copy but put a tweak on it. So let's look at what we've got here. So they all the health and safety symbols kind of follow a standard, they follow a standard style. We've all seen a health and safety sign, a no admittance sign, all those kind of things before. I think I'm going to nick this one. And I'm going to have a look at what we've got. So let's have a look at this. I'm just at the minute with these kind of things. These are the things that you don't normally see when I'm doing this kind of stuff. I do this stuff in private. You see the result, and I am looking at this and and trying to work out how to do it live and trying to talk you through the things I'm thinking. I am gonna, so you can see on the bottom of my stream at the minute, you can see all the symbols and the logos and things that I've created before. I'm gonna create something similar to that, and they've got a track. They've got a track on their one of their other albums called "Kill Your Master," and I think I'm gonna make like a "Kill Your Masters." Okay, oh, let me change that to an FFF. Let me make that a bit bigger so you can see it. So I'm going to make a "Kill Your Masters" logo, like a symbol thing that looks like a health and safety, sign. And just so you know what I'm talking about, so "Kill Your Masters" shirt. They've got a really cool shirt for this. I mean, all it says is "Kill Your Masters," but I kind of really want one. Yeah, so they've got this t-shirt that says "Kill Your Masters." It's one of the tracks off their other album, and the track's great. And I think I am going to do something like this kind of cross-through sign. So let's go for this. Let's start super simple with a stroke. What colour do we want to use? Let's try that colour. Drop that "Kill Your Masters" text off the bottom there for now, so we don't see it. There's a shortcut I use in Figma all the time, by the way, for things that aren't centered. So we like this up here at the top. The shortcut is Alt or Option V, which centers it vertically, or H, which centers it horizontally like that. I use that shortcut all the time in Figma. Learn it, it's brilliant. Then we're going to draw a line and put a 60 pixel stroke on that too. Turn that 45 degrees. Then we've got, and then I'm going to do the same thing again and put that in the middle, but it's not going to put it in the middle. So I'm going to have to do this one by eye, which is a bit more difficult. There we go, that's about centered. So we got that. What I'm thinking at the minute is, how do we connect acting brave and courageous back to a symbol that's loosely connected to health and safety? I'm just thinking about that. It's hard to talk over thinking. When I'm sat here thinking of what I'm going to do, it's hard to think about this. What I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to show a person walking up this. I haven't got a clue if this is going to make sense, but to test the idea, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to use the Noun project. The Noun project is a huge library of millions of vector symbols. I don't use it that much on Unobvious because I like to make my own vector symbols, but I use it occasionally for simple stuff. So walking, for example, should bring me back a load of symbols of the kind of thing that I would have drawn anyway. So it saves me a bit of time for these kind of things when I'm on a live stream and we want to keep it a bit interesting. I'm going to copy this as SVG. Let's go back to here. And oh, that's not copied as SVG. Let's go back again. Right click, copy as SVG. There we go. That's better. Ungroup it and give it a colour. Let's try that pink. Oh no, that looks horrible, doesn't it? Let's not try that pink. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to flip it. And I'm going to make this guy be walking up this middle bit here. I don't know if this idea is going to work, which is partly why I've nicked the symbol off Noun Project to begin with, just to test the idea, see what it works like. You know what? I don't mind that. As a simple idea, that, you know, that's actually okay. I expected to look at that and think, this is crap. But it's pretty cool. I don't mind it. Let's have a look back at some of those other lyrics. I want to keep these simple. The whole point of these visualizations, by the way, is that they never get that complicated. I'm not looking at making a huge complicated illustration. We want to get the idea through to somebody's head really quickly. You got to remember where these are going to go. These are going to go into a thread on Twitter or something like that. And on Twitter, people don't pay attention. People are just, they're just browsing through, scrolling up and down things like this. They're just going like this. They're just scrolling up and down things. They're not paying attention to anything. So what we're looking to do is break the pattern of what people are doing like that. We want them to go, oh, that's interesting. And that's what we're looking at doing with visuals. So that the goal of the visual isn't to make it massively overcomplicated. The goal of the visual is to shrink and distill the idea down as simple as humanly possible, to the point where the idea might look really basic and might look maybe a bit simple and might look like, well, no one's going to look at that, Craig. No one's going to care about that, Craig. But that's not the point. The point is to make it as simple and as visual as possible. So for the first one, for that, acting brave and courageous ain't advantageous for health and safety, I'm happy with that. Let's have a look at the next one. I'm a sin on the verse like a kid in a hearse. I've got an idea for that. I've got a really good idea for that, but I'm going to have to use Noun Project again to make sure I can visualize it in any quickness. Otherwise, you're going to get bored watching this. So what we're going to do for this is what I saw straight away. I'm a sin on the verse like a kid in a hearse. In fact, wow, I've just thought about this now. I've thought about two ideas. One of them could potentially offend some people, so maybe I'm not going to go for that one. Let's go for the simple one where I don't want to offend everybody who might watch this in the future. The thing I thought straight away, goat kid, a goat. A kid is a young goat. So what I'm going to do is look at the Noun Project again and look for a goat. And I want a simple sideways view of a goat. That one is perfect. If I was making these, like I said before, if I was making these and I had time, I wasn't on a live stream where I don't want it to last for hours, I would draw the goat myself. And I think that's always good practice to do stuff like that, to spend time using the pen tool in Figma and all that kind of stuff. At the minute, because I'm under a time pressure here, I don't want to spend ages drawing these individual things, but I would recommend you get used to using the pen tool in Figma for sure. I want this, I think, because I like the look of that hearse. Let's have a look at what that looks like. I don't think that green's bright enough. I think I need to beef the brightness up of that green. Let me just change this green. Maybe that's a bit too bright. There we go. That's better. So the phrase is, I'm a sin on the verse like a kid in a hearse. I like the visual of a kid being on a hearse here. I am going to just put a goat on the bonnet, or the hood for you Americans. I'm just going to put a goat on the bonnet. That's it. I think if you looked at that, you'd maybe think this was Ghostbusters, but, whatever. I still think it's an interesting concept. The thing behind this here, what I'm thinking with this is, wherever possible, I'm looking for the unexpected idea in something. I don't want the thing that I'm doing to be immediately obvious to somebody. I want it to be unobvious, hence the name of the Twitter account. So when I'm looking at a phrase like a kid in a hearse, people would be expecting to see a child. I don't want people to see what they're expecting, because part of finding the unobvious idea in things is when you do something that's unexpected. People enjoy that. People enjoy seeing the thing that they didn't expect to see, and it makes them make their own connection in the head. Number one, they read the phrase, I'm a sin on the verse like a kid in a hearse. They look at the visual, and because it's unexpected, they go, I don't get that. I don't understand why there's a goat on a hearse. So then they go back to the phrase, and it makes them read the phrase again. And they go back to the phrase and go, that's why it's like that. That's what I'm looking for every time with one of these visuals. Anyway, let's move on to Banana Clipper. I love Banana Clipper, by the way. It's one of my favourite RTJ tracks. And I haven't prepared any lyrics for this one. So let's get rid of this crap that we've got here. And I'm going to look at the next track, which is Banana Clipper, featuring Big Boy. Don't know who Big Boy is. Oh yeah, I move with the elegance of an African elephant. I presented the evidence, eloquent as the president. Evident, it's with emphasis. I deserve me a championship. But before I banana clip, I'm a chill so my man can rip. I don't even know what a banana clip is. Let's look this up. A banana clip is a very long bullet magazine that contains more bullets than regular The Ones. Sick. Because of its curve, it looks like a banana. Here Mike uses it as a verb, meaning that his verse, he will tear everything up. Now I know what he means by that. I've got a great idea for this one. I've got the idea already. Right, okay, here we go. So I'm going to use the noun project again because I don't want to spend time drawing a Kalashnikov, an AK-47. So I'm going to use this again, just so I can quickly show you idea and we can rattle through these ideas and I can show you my thinking, which I think is more important than the execution. The execution comes over time with practice and skill and all that kind of stuff. I want to show you my thinking behind these things, not the skill. I don't want to show off skill. Yeah, my skill, my design skill. That's not why I'm doing these. Right. Let's go back over here. Soon as I read that, let me copy this lyric over as well. But before I banana clip, I'm a chill so my man can rip. Because I'm doing a visual representation of a banana clip, honestly, I don't really need the lyric for this because it's already going to be obvious what we're doing. Now I've made that bigger. I'm not sure I like that AK-47. Let's have a look at some other ones. Nope. Let's look in noun project. There we go. Where's noun project gone? Oh, that's Notion. That's why. They've got similar icons. Hold on. Let's have a look. I think that one might be better. Let's change the color of it. You know what? I'm going to go for this original one. I'm going to go for the original one. We'll use it. Doesn't matter too much about the execution of the visual, because the next thing I'm going to find is a banana. You've probably already worked out what I'm going to try and do here. I am looking for a visual representation of a banana, and I'm just going to stick a banana inside the gun. Obvious, I guess. I don't think I'm going to find the perfect drawing of a banana for this, and I think, oh, that might work. I think I might actually have to draw my own banana. Right, let's try that. I don't even know if this is going to work visually, but let's try it. A point I want to make here, what I'm always trying to do with these visuals is try and make, I guess, an iconic representation of the track, rather than just visualizing the words or something. I see these visuals that I'm doing as very much of logo design, of brand design, of creating a visual that could be used for an album cover or something like that, or for other kind of ways that they could be used. I'm basically thinking of them in a very kind of iconic way. So that's why a lot of the visuals I do are very basic, because I like to think of an instance where you could use them for something else and not just a visual online. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you could use it for all kinds of stuff. Brian just said, what are you making? I'm making a mess, Brian. That's what I'm doing. I'm sat here on YouTube messing around with my new with my new live streaming setup. Just making a mess. That's it. I'm visualizing Run the Jewels album tracks from 1 through to 11, and I'm only on number 2. So, and I only want to do this for an hour, so it might take me a while. Right, so this track name is Banana Clipper. And now I've just realised the name of this track. I think I'm happy with that visual. I think it's subtle enough that it still looks like a Kalashnikov. But when you look at it, you can kind of see that it's a banana in there instead of a banana clip. I think we could maybe enhance this a little bit more. If I had a little bit more time, we could probably maybe draw attention to the fact that it's a banana. Maybe change it so it's yellow instead or something like that. Let's have a look. Maybe do something like that. Play with the idea that it's yellow. The other thing we could maybe do is look at putting the banana in the end of the gun instead. But then the idea doesn't work as well as it did before. And yeah, kind of doesn't work well as well. But I think the core idea of using a banana as the ammo, as the ammo clip inside a gun, I think that's a cool idea. So let's have a look at the other lyrics before I move on to the next track. Let's see if there's anything else in here. Oh man, Run the Jewels lyrics are brilliant, aren't they? There's just so much in these lyrics that you can do all sorts with. And there's so many words, I don't even know what they are. I keep an OZ in my pocket. I dread to think when I click on this, what OZ is going to be. Oh, weed, marijuana. Oh, right, keep an ounce in my pocket. No, Brian, banana as in the clip. So this track is called Banana Clipper. But before I banana clip, I've just discovered this as I was making it. The track's called Banana Clipper. I didn't know what Banana Clipper was. And there's a line in it, before I banana clip, I'm a chill so my man can rip. And banana clip is what they call the clip in a very long bullet magazine in something like an AK-47. So when I did it, I just swapped the clip from the gun to a banana. That's it. Simple as that. And I'm just looking through to see if there's any other kind of lyrics in here. I'm a slang pope, haranguing the land with a man's flow. It sounds ridiculous as a British person, me saying these lyrics out loud. So, it's time for Skywalker talkers meet the true Darth Vader. I like that line. Darth Vader is, of course, Luke and Leila's father from Anakin Skywalker. In this line, Mike is sunning the competition, or putting them in their place, claiming his place as the father of their style, revealing himself as the true bad guy. That's an interesting line, isn't it? It's time for Skywalker talkers meet the true Darth Vader. Oh, there's loads of stuff. Let's move on to the next track. I'm going to look at the next track now. So, 36-inch chain. This is a song about owning a massive chain. But it's still got some great lyrics in it. Stuff like, I smoke ganja with a dreadlock rasta. Again, sounds ridiculous when I say it with a British accent. Move like Jesus, die like a martyr. They've got... Now I'm looking at these lyrics. Now I'm sat here looking at these lyrics. They've got a lot of lyrics that are religious based. And I'm seeing loads of stuff I could do with those. Messing with Jesus' cross and all that kind of thing. But as I said, I don't want to offend anybody on this. So I'm not going to touch those with a barge pole. So I'm looking for some kind of cool visual inside here of these lyrics, and I'm just glancing through them, see what we've got. He stay losing like the Jets. That's quite cool. I mean, I'd be tempted for this one. And I walk around like I got a 36-inch chain. I'd be tempted to just do a massive long chain, like a ridiculously long chain, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that. So let's visualize the title of this track, 36-inch chain. Let's go back to Figma and open up the next one. Let's make it black again. So, and I walk around like I got a 36-inch chain. What I want to do with this is, and this is a tactic I often use on the unobvious visuals, I want to make this absolutely ridiculous to the point where you look at it and go, oh my God, that's a really long chain. So I'm looking to make something that is stupidly long. So what I do, and I think this has got to be goldy. So let's go for a 4 stroke. Let's see what that looks like. So what I want to do with this is make like a stupid, ridiculously long chain. And I think to kind of give it some visual interest, I'm going to make it so it's like really like this. I'm going to make it so it's really straight, and it's not curved, it's not smooth. It's just straight all the way around. And then I need to show this as hanging around somebody's neck. How am I going to do that? I also need to figure out a way of actually showing this as a chain. Let's center that. Alt V, Alt H. I'd actually be tempted, right? You know, as with all these visuals, as I was saying before, I'm almost tempted to leave it as simple as that. In fact, I am gonna, and then I'm gonna enhance this a little bit. Enhance, and I am gonna make some chains, some loops, some loop chains, not loops as in music, just some loops. Right. Let's release that and do this as a stroke instead. Oh, my computer. My computer's starting to take off. My Mac that I'm working on here, the work I'm doing is so furious and so amazing that my computer's starting to take off. Right, so what I'm thinking here, right? I want to make these look like... I want to make them look like loops in a chain. But this isn't going to be easy to do in Figma. This kind of thing is not easy to do in Figma at all, by the way. Let's have a play with this. I'm going to lock this chain behind here for a second. Where's lock? There it is. And I'm going to get rid of that fill. That's the effect I want to go for. Like that. But doing that all the way around is the kind of work that takes a long time on a visual. That's the kind of work that makes a visual look really frigging cool, but it ain't a thing we can do quickly, but sod it. We're here for a bit longer, so let's do it. So I am going to make a chain, and it ain't going to be perfect, but I'm going to loop all these elements together like this. And you can kind of see what I'm trying to do here. Again, I'm keeping the visual super simple. The idea is super simple. Every single visual I make is super simple. I don't try and get too elaborate with them. The whole goal of the visual every single time, and I always say this, and I've said this to a lot of people in the daily visual community already, that the goal is to communicate an idea. First and foremost, every single time, the goal is to communicate an idea. The goal isn't to show how good of a designer you are. The goal isn't to show off a new effect you've learned or something like that. The goal is to simply and effectively communicate an idea that will get into somebody's brain really, really quickly. And the simplest way to get something into somebody's brain, that's the cat again, it won't leave me alone. The simplest way to get a visual idea into somebody's brain very, very quickly is with a simple visual. The most complicated way to get an idea into somebody's brain is by overcomplicating an idea. And we can easily overcomplicate an idea. Like the idea that I'm doing now is going to take probably another 5 minutes for me to do this. Now I'm starting to get in the rhythm with it. It's not going to take as long, but I might get to the end of this idea and it might not work. And it'll take courage, I guess. It'll take a removal of my ego to understand that I should have gone simpler with this idea. And it is the thing I see all of the time on people making visuals on Twitter specifically, because I think on Twitter more than anywhere else, the visuals that you make have got to be really simple. I am copy and pasting, Brian. It's just taking me ages because I'm laying them out. Was that an instruction, or was that just you just saying copy and paste as in, yeah, copy and paste for the win? Yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, keeping these visuals simple is really important to get something into somebody's brain. And like this, so 2 different versions of the same visual here. Let me turn that background thing off. There we go. You can see on the right hand side that immediately when you look at it, you know it's a chain. The one on the left hand side, not so much. It doesn't really look that much like a chain. So the point I'm getting at with this is that doing the simplest idea possible is what's more important than anything else when you're making visuals online. When you're wanting to communicate an idea with somebody, you got to keep it really simple. Oh man, I am getting bored of doing this already. I wish I'd not thought of this idea. Thanks, Brian. Brian says he likes the look of this. Should I be using your name, by the way, Brian? Because it just says make this butter. And I'm kind of like revealing your name to everybody by keep calling you Brian. Right, I've got an idea how I'm going to speed this up now. We are going to copy and paste this. I am going to copy and paste. I'm going to group this and keep duplicating this all over and then fill in the bits at the end. So any bit that I can see where it fits, I'm going to copy and paste this in. This is the boring bit of design. This is the bit that people don't live stream. Well, they do live stream it, but this is why design's boring. I said to my mate the other day, I've got my new computer. I'm going to do a live stream to test it all out. And I'm going to live stream doing some design work. And he said, that's boring as shit. Why are you doing that? And he said, I watch people live streaming playing Train Simulator, and Train Simulator is more interesting than watching somebody stream design. I felt a bit hurt by that, to be honest. Although it's probably right. Right, we're nearly getting there with this now. We can't give up on this now. I'm probably going to use up like the entire hour just making this chain. When I get to the end of it, all it's going to look like is a chain. No, I haven't got an M1 laptop, Brian. I'm going to wait a couple of years. I think with the M1 laptop, the new Apple laptop, I think the figures are really impressive, and the things that Marques Brownlee has been saying about them, the new processors for Apple we're talking about here, the new processors that they've just released look impressive, and for video production they look impressive. But I've just gone out and bought a PC, and I've bought a PC specifically for live streaming, maybe a bit of gaming as well. You know, I like a little bit of video gaming. I'm probably going to play some video games on it too. But I bought a ridiculously powerful PC just to live stream, so I can use my Mac. So I'm using my Mac right now to do this live stream, and the Mac is breaking a sweat. I'll be honest, because you can probably hear it in the background. Siri just started then for some reason, looking for stuff for Break a Sweat. Yeah, I like the look of the M1. Yeah, Brian said it'll be the M2 by then. By the time I get an M1 laptop, I honestly think it'll be an M3 or something. I love Macs, right? I love using Macs, and it's, how do I put this politely? I love using Macs. I love using them for design, but they're not very powerful when it comes to doing design stuff. Photoshop, even though I don't really use Adobe Photoshop much anymore, Adobe Photoshop runs like an absolute dog now on Macs, and I don't know whether the M1 chip is going to change that for quite a while. Adobe apparently working on a specific version for the M1 chips for Photoshop, but they're just not great as a laptop. They're beautiful devices, and I wish they were more powerful, but there's no way I am buying a Mac Pro, even though I would love a Mac Pro, and that is the way that I could get the power that I wanted. There is no way I am paying all that money for some wheels and all of the rest of the stuff. Brian says, prediction, Craig Burgess will be streaming games full-time on Twitch by the 6th of 2021. I've thought about live streaming games, you know. I think I might give it a bash, you know. I do like playing a good video game. I've just bought Red Dead Redemption for my PC to really test its mettle and to see what it's like. Right, we're bloody getting there with this. It is taking some time. This is the hidden side, right, of making visuals on Twitter. You look at one of my visuals and it looks like I've made them in 2 seconds. But the harsh truth of it most of the time is that it didn't take me 2 seconds to make it. It took me hours. And I was sat there, sad and bored, moving pixels around on a screen like this. And it just looks like a couple of shapes. Nearly there though. Let's have a look at what this is looking like. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's the kind of effect that I wanted to get. Yeah, it's getting there. So when I was talking earlier on this stream, and I was talking about using Noun Project, this is where Noun Project isn't useful, because you won't be able to find a specific shape of a chain, for example. And this is where you've got to start making your own chains and your own visuals. But even though I've been sat here moving these little squares around, the idea that I've got is still really basic, and it'd still be very easily understood by anybody who is scrolling through Twitter, for example. And even though the execution of it is taking a long time, the actual idea is not that complicated. And I think this is what's really important about making visuals, about doing any design, to be honest. It's really important that you make sure, no matter how complicated the execution is, the idea is pretty straightforward. Let me just check Twitter. I'm getting a bunch of Twitter notifications. Oh, it's me. Yeah, it's it's my automated Twitter posts going out. By the way, I don't even know what I'm going to do with these visuals when they're done. I am literally making these visuals for a live stream on Twitter and on YouTube, and there is no purpose to them. They're not going anywhere when they're finished. Maybe I'll put them on Twitter, but I wasn't actually, like planning on making a thread or something of Run the Jewels lyrics. I literally did this because I thought, Yeah, watching somebody do design is really boring on YouTube. Watching somebody live stream design is really boring. And the only way I can make it interesting is by using lyrics that are full of swear words. And it hasn't turned out like that at all. I've spent like 25 minutes making a chain, basically. And talking to Brian. And I talked to Brian anyway. So I didn't have to talk to him on the live stream and talk about the M1 chip. Nearly there. If you're still there, Brian, have you bought an M1? Are you thinking of buying an M1 laptop? Nearly there. Although I keep saying that now. I think I'm fooling myself rather than you. Brian says, so this is how my money is spent. Yeah, pretty much. This is what you hire a designer to do. You hire a designer to think of an idea, and then the designer spends, like me here, the designer spends a couple of hours doing a visual like this, and then you show it to the client, and the client says, I don't like it. And then you go away and you spend another 3 hours making another brand new visual, and the client says, I don't like it. You know, man, I sound bitter when I say that, don't I? I sound really bitter. Oh, you've just purchased the new 13-inch MacBook Pro, Brian. Damn. Are you going to send it back? Are you going to get yourself an M1? Nearly there. I just keep saying nearly there. Nearly there. Nearly there. Oh my god. We are nearly there. Wow. Just a couple more bits. I'm going to cut this one short here. Speed this up. Let's go into overdrive now. Let's not chill and make these visuals. Let's make this finished. Let's get out of here. Let you go do something useful instead of watching me. I think what I'm going to do right at the end of this live stream, in another 5 minutes or so, I am going to do my daily visual as well for an obvious. And I'll show you what I do that's nothing related to Run the Jewels. And I'll show, in fact, maybe I can find a Run the Jewels quote that I can use for an obvious. Maybe it's this one. Follow the yellow brick road indeed. Jesus Christ. Makes me never want to hear that phrase, watch that film ever again. I think at this point, Brian, it's got so desperate that it's only me and you left. I can see why now. My friend said that design live streams are boring. What I need to do for my future live streams is I need to have somebody else making these visuals, and I need to be live streaming playing Call of Duty or something like that. There needs to be a split screen of someone playing Call of Duty, which would be me obviously, and somebody else making these visuals, because it'd keep it interesting, wouldn't it? Or we have a game show or something. We have a pub quiz whilst I'm making these visuals. Super close to finishing this one now. Oh yeah, as well, what usually happens, this is another insight into the life of a designer. What usually happens is, by the time you get to this point of making a visual, yeah, Brian, I could have drawn a less complicated line. I could have done that if I would have planned anything about this. And a less complicated line isn't as cool. And I'm a masochist, and I've started now, so I'm going to finish, regardless of whether anybody cares about watching. What was I saying? You've made me forget what I was saying now. Right. Oh yeah, what I was saying. As you get towards the end of this visual like this, you start to think, oh, it looks shit. And at that point, you usually bin it all and start again. So that is a true insight of where most designers' time ends up going. It's rare that you get a successful design in the first go of something. So you are literally moving shapes around to begin with, and if you're lucky, you end up with like a really cool effect, or the start of something that looks really good and that you'll end up using for something else. But if you aren't lucky, which is like most 99% of design projects, if you aren't lucky, the first thing that you do, even though you spend, I mean, I've only spent 20 minutes on this, but even though you spend a couple of hours on something, it won't look right. And you'll go like this and you'll zoom out and go, ugh, it don't look right. Why did I spend all that time doing it? And the other thing as well is, depending on your level of experience as a designer, depending on how long you've been a designer, and also how long you've used the app that you've using. So I'm using Figma here. I use Figma day in and day out for all kinds of stuff. Depending on your experience with the app that you're using, you might actually be doing something in a very inefficient way. And the reason I say this right now is because I think I'm probably doing this in a very inefficient way. There's probably a much quicker way to do this. There's probably, I don't know, an Illustrator tutorial that does this in 5 minutes. In fact, there is. I could have made a shape in Illustrator, but you wouldn't have seen the pain that I go through every time I make visuals if I would have done it in Illustrator in 5 minutes, and it wouldn't have taught you anything, and we wouldn't have had this chilled out conversation about M1 chips and wasting clients' money. Oh my god, this is the last line. This is it. This is where I finish it. I look at it and I go, I hate it. I need like some applause here. It's not going to fit. The last line's not going to fit. The struggle is real. I could be doing worse things for a living, couldn't I? Oh my god, I'm going to cheat it. I'm going to have to cheat it to make it match. Let's drop that down like that. Make that wider. There we go. Oh my god, what an effort. What an effort for minimal payoff. Let me find... Look at all these rectangles. Look at all these rectangles. It's going to take me 10 minutes to get to the bottom to delete this original thing. Right. There we go. That is the end of visual. Was it worth it? I'll let you decide whether it was worth it or not. But that is a visual for 36-inch chain that looks like a ridiculously long chain that you just saw me suffer through for 20 minutes. I'm going to look at one last one, and then we're going to jump off this because we're at 1 hour and 5 now. Let's have a look at the last one. I think I should do some call-outs for the next one. I think I'm going to ask you for quotes for this next one, and I'm going to put a call-out on Twitter, and then they won't all be ridiculous rap lyrics, which I found much more difficult than I thought. Let's have a look on here. Slow water drip to the temple to live in a prison when the walls don't appear to your vision. One fall down where shower stalls, blah, 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 blah. Try to pet my head again. And I'm going to put a tooth through the flesh of the palm that you jack with. This city just screams black magic and the threat to my heart got traction. Oh, I'm not seeing any visual. Sea legs. I got sea legs. Again, I've looked through the lyrics and all I've found is the name of the track. Let's do sea legs. Let's have a look at sea legs. Let's see what I can cook up for this. I've got kind of an idea. I think, right, we're going to go super simple with this visual. This will be super quick to do. Hopefully. Let's see if I can get this Bezier curve right. Let's do it in blue again. I'm going to try duplicate, Shift H to put it next to it. I'm hoping they're going to match up spot on. And then we're going to show some sea legs. Just give me another idea. Does sea look like sea legs? Does sea, this simple thing, already look like legs? Is this it? Have I figured out the visual way quicker than I expected? Right, let's group these. No, not that one. Group these two. The reason I'm grouping these is because I'm gonna make sure that the space between each one is even. So I'm gonna select them all now and hit tidy up. Oh no, that's messed it up. Okay, maybe that's not gonna work. Let's leave it as it is, and Alt or Option V, Alt or Option H. We've got that in the center. You see, what I was gonna do right with this is I was gonna draw some legs. I was going to draw some like weird wobbly legs like this. Still might work. Let's have a look. And I was going to put them in the sea. Literally. Sea legs. No elegance to this idea whatsoever. It's like literally sea legs. But I want both legs to look ever so slightly different. I don't want them to look the same. Now, do these look a sufficient level of crap, or do they look crap? That needs evening up a little bit so it's the same width. I don't know whether they look good. Also, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to get them to sit inside that water. Let's try these on a separate idea. That could be one idea. Let's try them on a separate idea over here. So we have the legs here in the laid in the water, and we're going to copy these over to this new one, but I'm going to shrink them right down. Reduce that stroke. We're going to have this like this, and we're going to put some perspective to this water like this. And we're going to put a few more in there. Like maybe there, like that. I'm going to just make this so it's not even. What I'm trying to do is show choppy seawater. And a pair of massive legs sat in it. But for, you know, why not? Why not can I draw a pair of massive legs that sat in some seawater? Yeah, this is sort of coming together. I think the legs, right? The legs need to go off the top there like that. There we go. I've stretched them, they look shit. Let me do this properly. Drag these two arms up. And the angle of the legs is purposeful as well, because it's kind of showing like an unshore set of legs, or like some legs that are feeling a bit sick. Because I can't remember what the Sea Leg song is about, but I'm sure it's about, well, they're usually about religion or drugs, most RTJ songs, but I'm sure it's something to do with being sick at sea. I've got sea legs. I know it says that in the chorus over and over. I've got sea legs. I've got sea legs. Right. Okay, they've been stuck a bit more. Right, I'm going to chop the bottom of these off and make them look like they are sat in some water, as we'd say in Barnsley. I haven't got a clue if this is going to work. This is another one of those ideas that I am not sure about. Oh, you know, that actually looks pretty cool. I actually quite like that. I don't know whether you think there were legs or not, but I like the kind of quirky legs that look weird. They need to come over the top of everything else like that. And if I do some little swirls around here, they'll look like they're sat in the sea, won't they? These are all the little details. The tiny things that are a close and careful balance between overly tweaking things and adding the final touches to a design that sets something off, that really make you realise what it is that you're looking at. Yeah, so what I'm trying to do with these is I'm going to do some rings like this, so you know that they're in water. Does that give that impression? Yeah, if I fade them down to a 3, 2. By the way, what I'm doing to fade those down there is I'm pressing the number keys on my keypad. 2 is 20, 1 is 10%, 8 is 80%. Really useful feature. Yeah, there we go. That kind of works. This doesn't fit with the other ones that I've done so far. This one feels more quirky and more cartoony, but I'm cool with that. We're just riffing on these designs. I think they need to be just a bit brighter. And that one, the angle needs changing. And I think I just need to make that a bit bigger. There we go. Yeah. I think those kind of work. They look like legs. That's what, although it's getting a bit thinner there at the top. Let me just make that a bit wider. Yeah, I think if I was going to pick one of these ideas out of the two, I'd use the one with the really tall legs, the kaiju legs almost. And actually, some stuff that RTJ have done before, some of the visuals that they've done, have actually been quite cartoony. So I'm going to call it quits there. We've been going for an hour and 15. There will be nobody left listening to this now because it was quite difficult. I only got to track 4. It's much more difficult than I expected to do this, to make my way through all of these visuals. We started a bit slowly with some of these visuals. We started by using noun projects, then we went into the 36-inch chain where it took me hours and most of this live stream to do, and then we finished off with sea legs, although I've put it under DDFH. We finished off with sea legs where I tried to draw a little bit of a cartoon set of legs. I'm going to do these again. I really enjoyed doing this. It was cool to chat to some of you as well. Well, mainly Brian and a little bit of you. But I'm going to do them again, but I'm going to let you pick the tweets that I'm going to visualize, and I am done. Let's shut this off. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Even if you watched the replay, thank you for watching. This must have been terribly boring for you. See you again soon.